The great part of the small business was it was in a small town, and it was a walking town. So I was able to experience local people. And the trick of it was finding out what the customer wanted you to sell. What were they looking for? How did you find things that fit their lifestyle? This wasn't the city. This was a small suburban town. So you had to edit what you were doing. My business is based on the fact that I was a graphic designer for 25 years. I had a highly creative job, and I had grown up in the clothing business. My parents had done it. So as a child, I was in and out of factories in Philadelphia, also factories in New York City. At the time, in the 70s and 80s, you could go into a New York showroom, and down the hall was the factory where they made the clothes. So my parents often wheeled and dealed in the factory, and I was a kid. I was able to wander around and see all kinds of things. After 20-some years of being a graphic designer, I had my own ad agency. I decided to open a clothing store, and it was an interesting search for the right location. I found it in a little walking town called Narberth, Pennsylvania, and it was great because I really got to use everything I learned as a kid. I had no experience in a showroom. It had been years since I had been in one. I had gone to trade shows and was able to pick out a bunch of stuff that I thought was great, but had really no knowledge of what was going on in the fashion industry. I opened up with home furnishings and mostly clothing, and the clothing was super successful. And it was because of all the experience I had growing up with my parents and learning all kinds of things about fabrics and design. So after, I'd say 12, 13 years in business, I decided to open a second location, and the search was on to where would be the perfect place. And I had grown up in Wade as a kid and loved it. We had lived here for a few years and we had moved away. But what was so attractive about Wayne was it was a walking town, very similar to Narberth, but more of a beautiful town, wider, bigger streets, and a lot of really interesting mix of businesses and restaurants here. So basically I saw the place was for rent, and I contacted Ida, and I was surprised at how different their approach was to other real estate agents that I had dealt with. Everyone worked together as a team. I was really shocked to discover that they had a production group, that they were going to gut the place for me. The best part of it was working with Stacy, who literally drew a floor plan and decided to show me where she was going to put the heating room, where she was going to build dressing rooms to enable me to have a third dressing room instead of just two that I had planned. So her plan was better than the one that I'd come up with. And I had studied interior design. The best part of it was I knew that these people were going to get this job done for me. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to that, because with Ida's help, I created an environment that was exactly what was in my head. And I would never have been able to do that had I not had a team of people that were listening to what I was saying and coming up with creative solutions for me that really worked, and we worked great as a team, and every single person was great. My client base is pretty diverse. They're usually very well-educated, smart women who are not slaves to fashion. They want to look good, they're interested in quality, and many of them are interested in a good price point. I try to cater to women that are over 35, that want to look age appropriate. I let them experience the store on their own. The best compliment I ever got from a customer that I had for many years, she was just a regular person that bought clothing. She wasn't terrifically into fashion, but she said, "Jonathan, the one thing I've noticed by shopping in your store over the years, that all of my clothes have changed, and it isn't so much that you have pushed styles on me or designers on me." She said, "But my style has changed because you have given me access to clothing that I would have never seen before. And because of that, I've created my own style."